Hi there, Mike Masuda here, San Francisco South Bay area, drummer and percussionist, bass player. Back when I was a kid, my dad had bought me my first drum set, which was a Rogers kit. Originally it was his, but I sort of commandeered it and became my kit ultimately. But over the years, I guess I'll go ahead and show you what happened. So these are the little lug things that are supposed to go onto the side there, where the tuning rods right here are supposed to go, the tension rods, right? And this is an old one here that I have. This one's intact. You can see the little two protrusions sticking out from there. And then this is what happened. If you over tighten, they snap off. I guess these things were made out of zinc or something, and they broke off. Sometime, back in the late 80s this happened, and I didn't know about it until I started, cleaning my snare drum and noticed that this thing was sort of like moving very easily, so it broke off. And that was the end of the drum for a while. So here's the actual snare drum, the shell at least, right? And let me go ahead and show you where's the label. Here. The label's right here just to document it. Serial number. It says 06088084 is the serial number there. It could be a 05, but I think it's a 6. Anyways, this is one of the, I guess, the drums. I presume the last two digits there means the year that it was produced. I could be wrong on that, but I don't know. Anyways, I've been spending time using, just wipes and things like that to take off all the layers and layers of gunk and duct tape debris that's been on there for decades. And I got it to clean up, fairly nicely here, but the problem is I'm missing a few parts. I didn't realize that I needed these things, but these tiny little things right here on these things right there, they are integral to getting the lugs to stay on the snare drum. They're little spacers, and I'm missing 2 pairs of these, as it turns out. I was also missing one of these, but luckily my pal over at Starving Musician, Micah, was able to supply me with one of these for free, along with the snare strings to hold the snare rail in place. All right, this is the original snare rail from 1984, and then this thing going around it, this is the, oops, let me focus this, that's the hoop, right, the bottom hoop that goes to where the snare head is going to be, the bottom head, right? And it's kind of weird. They have things here that protrude out with big holes in there, so it accommodates this thing here. And those of you who know Roger drums, the snare drums from this time, the Dynasonic, will recognize this snare rail. So these are the old ones here, and then I have the new ones here, but they don't come with that little spacer thing, and so I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do at this point. I'll probably, just sort of rummage through and see if I can find washers that'll fit to at least make it work. And it'll be probably good enough, but this is my project for tonight, is to get this together and to see if I can get it to sound decent. I probably won't play it, tonight, because it's already dark outside, and I got neighbors, below me and to the other side of me over here, so don't want to bother them with my sound. I have, the drum heads here, the Ambassador top and bottom heads that I'm going to be putting on this thing, and hopefully, within a couple of days of sort of tweaking, it'll turn out to be a nice drum. All right, cheers. All right, so I found some spare washers in a bin of stuff, and I was able to get the last 2 lugs on there, along with the tension rods everywhere, with the drum all the way around. As you can see, this is the the ambassador head on the snare side tuned up properly, and then I'll flip it over. This is on the beater side. Seems okay. Now comes the hard part, because now I get to work with that snare rail. I got to figure out how to put that onto the bottom here, just to make sure that it just kisses the bottom there, and it provides the necessary rasp for this snare. And from what I've heard from other people, it's not an easy task. It's a very meticulous sort of thing you got to work with, and you know, it's not easy keeping it and maintaining it as such. It does take a bit of time, but once you do, apparently it's like the best sounding snare mechanism ever. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. All right, this is Mike Masuda again. Hi. So what I'm doing is documenting the evolution of the rail for the Rogers Dynasonic snare. So let me flip this around this way, show you what I did. So originally, the snare wires, you know, in order to accommodate, you know, I can either buy the Rogers snare wires, or I have to use something like Ludwig wires and have to drill a small hole here in order to accommodate the screw. Those of you who have the Rogers rail understand that the screw is the only way that sort of, you know, makes it fit onto the rail itself. But I found another way to do this. So over here, I went to Home Depot and I bought this thing called the mirror hanging kit by Everbuilt. And there's a lot of components in here. This one seems to work really well with just drums in general. I've been using this to attach the DW three-way snare butt onto Ludwig Supraphonics and such. It works really well for that. And I just wanted to show you that there's this one particular bracket that's in there that looks like this, right? So you put the screw here and basically do this. That way it accommodates the pure sound, it accommodates the Ludwig, whatever you know, the modern ones, right? So you just slip it onto this side here like this. It goes in. As you can see, it fits very nicely. On the other end, what I did was one of the other hangers had something that looks like this. I had to take the triangle off, pry it out, so basically using a knife or something just to separate this out, because it's kind of folded over. If you can see that, the metal's folded over the triangle. So you have to split that out and remove the triangle to just leave the little metal flat sheet metal piece. But that goes right here. All right, and then you put the screw through, tighten it up, not too tight because you want to make sure this is flat. And then this goes into the knob over here. And by adjusting this, you can allow the wires to actually be brought up to tension. So this is a fairly good solution here to try to get pure sound or any other snare wires to work with the Rogers setup. And it's relatively easy. You just remove one screw here, open up the little, spread out this little piece here, the sheet metal, and then remove this side, and then this side just comes off very easily. So it seems to work reasonably well so far. I have to put it on the snare to see how it sounds. I'm hoping for the best, but this is a possible solution for Rogers owners who have the rail and want to use other types of snare wires from other companies. Cheers. Hi, I just want to share you again from the side view. This is what we get. Right, it is hanging up. This side of the bracket is coming up a little bit over here on this side, but it's not much. I mean, it's flush pretty much with the snare wires, and the snare wires, they're brought to tension right now on the rail. And on this side over here, little folded bracket, and the other screw here. This is slightly below, as far as I can tell, slightly below the end of the snare wires over here. So this is not going to, get shoved into the snare head at all. So it seems to be okay for the moment. I'll have to test it out and see, and hopefully it'll sound okay. But this is a good solution, or a fair solution, to trying to figure out how to use other snare wires with the Rogers rail system. Alright, so I put the snare rail in finally, and I know it's dark in here, my apologies here, but here we go. Let me get this in focus. So there's the snare rail, and that's a Pure Sound set of snare wires on there. It's regular, I think it's like a 20 wire Pure Sound Pro, I think it is. But it seems to work. I mean, it seems like it's contacting very nicely on here. I tightened up the little tension screw here so that it works reasonably well. Here, let me go ahead and just tap on it. It's really late here, so I can't play too loud, but not too bad. And then changing the throw out. Okay, so engaged, disengaged, and then engaged again. I got the muffler on right now. I'll probably tighten up the head a little bit more later. Hope this has been useful for you. All right, cheers.